three-time world champion.
On lap 10. 7. Formula One legend Ayrton dies at a crash that shouldn't have happened. But what really happened? San Marino Grand Prix began as a normal Formula One weekend. Later, it was called the blackest day in Grand Prix history. Senna arrived in San Marino in a great mood. He stayed in his favorite room at the Castello Hotel in Bologna, but he had no idea that the next few days would change Formula One forever. Room 200 is where Ayrton has stayed since his career at McLaren, during which he won all of his titles. This was his first year without them. You see, in 1994, Senna wanted a more powerful car that would allow him to compete for a fourth title. That's why he moved to Williams. The hotel was located near the track at Imola. In the morning, Ayrton arrived at the track by helicopter, ready to prepare for qualifying. We are here in this third round at European season starting from zero. So basically our championship starts here. 14 races, not 16.
Our championship starts here, 14 races, not 16.
Senna felt the pressure. He had to show the best time. Suddenly, the rookie Ruben Barrichello flies into the air at 140 miles per hour. He gets into a very serious accident. Seeing that, he was dead. It was a shock for Senna. Ruben was his close friend. Ayrton had been supporting him since childhood. He financed a CTING competition for the young driver. Luckily, Barrichello survived with only a broken nose and bruised ribs. When Ruben opened his eyes, guess who he saw first? Senna made sure he was okay. "You've seen the Ruben, he's all right, he's all right." He's shocked, of course, but he's all right. Ayrton set the best time in qualifying. However, even this achievement could not relieve him of his mental pressure, and he was worried about the reliability of his car. When Ayrton returned to the hotel, he felt deeply anxious. Senna could not shake the thought that he could have been in Ruben's car. He was so concerned that he called his girlfriend, Andrea Gisto. She was surprised to hear Ayrton's voice, usually calm and confident. This time, he burst into tears. He wasn't crying for himself, but for Barrichello. It was a rare moment of sensitivity that made it clear that this side of Senna was deeply concerned about the safety of the sport. Things took a darker turn on Saturday, April 30th. During the qualifiers, Roland Ratzenberger, a new Formula One driver, tragically lost control of his car while traveling at a terrifying 195 miles per hour. The car slammed into a concrete wall with brutal force. The Austrian drove over the curb, which damaged the front wing of the car. As a result, the wing came off in Tambor's turning zone. Senna arrived at the accident scene in a security vehicle and immediately wanted to know the state of his friend. However, Renberger had already left in an ambulance. So he inspected the wrecked car. Ayrton found Sid Watkins, F1's neurosurgeon, who a day before saved Barrichello. He told him that, although he was rushed to the hospital, Ratzenberg was clinically dead. Publicly, his death was pronounced only after he arrived at the hospital, as the regulations at the time dictated that a fatality during an event would freeze it, and that would cause even more trouble for the organizers. In the midst of such a tragedy, the loss of Ratzenberg cast a shadow over the entire weekend, leaving Senna and the rest of the team in despair. According to Watkins, Ayrton broke down and cried on his shoulder. The two were extremely close, and Roland's death under such circumstances was truly tragic.
Ayrton Senna achieves his ambition to win the Brazilian Grand Prix.
It was a kind of...
I said to him, "You know, you're the fastest man around, won the championship. Why don't we both quit, and we'll go fishing?" These were the final words Senna said to him. Later that day, Senna went straight to the Williams pit garage and said that Ratzenberg had died. Frank Williams, the team principal, asked him to continue qualifying, but he refused. One would think that Senna was able to process these traumatic events in peace, but things were just about to get even more intense for him. Back at the hotel, he encountered a lively and loud wedding celebration that had taken over the entire place. Though clearly upset, he reluctantly agreed to pose for a photo with the bride and groom. However, his demeanor was noticeably off. As soon as he got back to his room, he immediately called Adrian. She asked him how he not drive. Later, Adrian called Adrian again and told her that he had decided to race after all. And when he won, he would show the Austrian flag and fly it on his victory lap in honor of Roland Ratzenberger and his country of birth. Senna said to his girlfriend with tears in his eyes,
"I want to convince you I am the best man in your life. I will prove to you that I'm the best."
Sunday, May 1st. On the morning of the race, the atmosphere on the track remained tense. During the driver's briefing, Senna openly demanded that the Driver Association be reinstated to fight for safety on the tracks. He received support from the drivers, and they agreed to take safety measures before the next Grand Prix in Monaco. After this safety focus, attention shifted to the start of the race. Despite the fact that Ayrton took the pole position, he looked nervous. When the starting lights came on, the race started suddenly. JJ Leto and Pedro Lamy. Hill, and that's a Lotus. They'll have to stop the race, I'm sure, because there's debris on the circuit. That is, got into a serious collision, the debris of which flew into the crowd and injured spectators. The safety car came on track. Senna remained the leader, but was chased by Schumacher. This event only increased the level of anxiety on the track. The appearance of the safety car on a dry track was an extremely rare event. It was only the second time in the history of Formula One. That's why Ayrton called for it to go faster. He felt that his tires were losing temperature. When it was announced that the track was clear, the safety car was called back, and the race started. In the last part of the fifth lap, Senna and Schumacher immediately returned to the fight for the lead. Michael began to push with all his might. Lap 6, he's getting closer. Ayrton defended with confidence, but the tension was growing. However, on lap 7, after Senna's accident, his head was seen tilting to the left before returning to its original position. I realized the driver's not getting out. Too late. He was rushed by helicopter to a hospital in Bologna. When the journalists saw drops of blood from the helicopter during the landing, it became clear that the situation was critical. Everyone was waiting for an official announcement, although hope was fading with each passing minute. A few hours later, doctors made an official statement. The official time of death, despite his breathing, was 14:17, exactly 24 hours and 2 minutes after Ratzenberger's death was announced. The remains of the Williams and Simtek cars were already under the protection of the Italian police for investigation. An Austrian flag was found in Senna's cockpit, which he had planned to display at the finish line in memory of Roland. The news of his death shocked Brazil. The government declared 3 days of national mourning in Senna's honor. Crowds of people filled the streets, grieving and angry. Why wasn't the race stopped? Who's to blame for the tragedy that took the life of a national hero? You might think that this would be the end of Ayrton's story, but no. Few people know that there was a court that worked hard to find out the real cause of the crash. appeal over the modification. However, the statute of limitations on manslaughter charges in Italy is 7.5 years, and he escaped punishment.